Hello, and welcome back
It's
to
another day.
show. It's another day. It's another show.
Yes, it is.
Let's do this. Welcome, everybody, to the Spice. Oh,
Train.
whoa,
Rice.
whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
la,
whoa,
la, la,
whoa,
la, la, la,
whoa.
la, 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 la.
I didn't say life.
You didn't say Ife.
I said tick 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 tick
Tick, 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 tack, tack. Come on, Angela, with the finger.
Okay. All right, you ready? Let's start over. Welcome to the Spice. Come on, do it.
Life.
Okay.
But you usually say life, don't you? I don't know. It don't even matter.
We freestyling it. Freestyling it.
Freestyling it, wilding it. Now you smiling it. We're taking it for a mile a minute. Cause never mind.
Okay.
All right. So listen.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
I don't need to be validated. I know that was okay. I'm good with that. My bad. Speaking of that, do you really need it when it comes to being validation? Do some people need that validation from others? That self-validation, so to speak, or are they okay with what they're doing and how they're doing it? Some people call it external validation.
Yes.
So that's that outside validation. And we got to look at some information from the it's called I think it's the Manhattan. Let me make sure I say it right. ManhattanWellness.org. Good information. That team, the writing team, I guess it was a group of people that got together because it's no specific name we saw. So let's get right to it. It says the pros and cons of external validation. And Angela, what was the insight there?
So basically it said we all know that feel good feeling we get when someone likes our new outfit, or when we get a bunch of likes on our latest Instagram post. That's because we receive external validation, validation from sources outside of ourselves. And while there's nothing wrong with a little bit of external validation now and again, we can't rely on it to boost our self-esteem or determine our self-worth. Why?
Why?
Because external validation is based on the actions of others.
Okay.
And as we all know, others' actions are out of our control.
Out of control.
So true. That is so true.
So we're going to look at some of the, first of all, some people may say, the answer may be say, yeah, I think you need to have it. Some people say, nah, I'm good. I'm who I am. I don't need nobody. I don't want nobody. But the reality is that according to this information, there could be pros and cons. And you can decide by subscribing, likes, loves, comments, whether you agree or disagree.
Yeah.
Thumbs up button once, thumbs up down. Hit it twice just to make sure it works. And we'll get this out. So this is one of the pros of validation. It can boost your confidence. It can be easy to doubt ourselves and our abilities, but when someone affirms that we are doing a good job, or someone else affirms that we're doing a good job, it can help us feel more confident. External validation can also help us to see ourselves in a more positive light. I would probably agree with that. And remind us that we can achieve great things, especially if we're struggling with that self-doubt or that low self-esteem. Now, one thing I want to say about this before you would chime in is that some people say, no, I don't need it. But I think sometimes they just fooling themselves.
Yeah, everybody needs a little bit of something, but
if not most, everybody.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Now, there may be some out there that's not like that. It may be that very few that like, I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are.
And if you think about it, it says boost of the confidence. Now, someone that's heavily reliant on that for confidence, now there is something wrong with that, because you're talking about something that's outside of things that you can control. So yeah.
And so when your confidence is boosted, it'll lead you to number 2, which is
It can make us feel good.
feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good.
Oh.
But it says makes us feel good, and Angela's going to explain to us what that
Okay,
means.
let's talk about, in addition to boosting our confidence,
Mm-hmm.
external validation can make us feel good about ourselves. It reassures us that we are doing something correctly, or that we are loved and appreciated by others, leading to an increase in our overall happiness and sense of well-being.
I would agree with that too.
Yeah.
Now, I would definitely agree with that. I always felt like a person that I didn't need nobody to say, like growing up anyway. I don't need nobody to tell me something. I feel good about it. But I find as I get older, especially with people you care about and you love, that validation definitely you feel different. It gives you a boost.
Yeah, and I can relate, because I'm looking at Chris sometimes when I do something, or I look, so what do you think about it? I even ask. If he doesn't say it automatically to me, hey, I would demand a response from
It'd be
him, because I
quick.
want to know his opinion or his point of view on it. So, that helps me to know what his thoughts are about things.
And I'm still starting to realize that, like, I still like realize to Angela that because to me it's just I see more as just we conversating, but I'm realizing more and more like it is your reaction, like her reaction to my something I want didn't even realize subconsciously, and I think it's the same with her. Subconsciously, we want this validation from each other, and we look at each other's reaction, and we may not each of us the person that's supposed to be giving this validation, we don't even know we're supposed to be doing it. We may not even see it as that big a deal, but what happens is that if we give a certain response, even if we like it, let's say we like it, we really like it. If we give certain responses around that, it can seem the validation may not go well. It may not go be
Yeah.
a positive, be seen as positive, because we're not understanding the big picture of the question.
And also, if it doesn't come, you assume that, oh, they probably didn't like it. Must have did real bad.
And a lot of times,
So
especially speaking from a guy's point of view, they're not paying attention.
yeah.
They didn't understand. Like I remember some not too long ago, Angela showed me something I really liked, thought was really cool. I wanted to be a part of it, but really I should have just validated that and move on. But my brain didn't comprehend that till way later. So it's important to really make sure, when somebody asks you something, or I'm looking from my perspective, try to really make sure, okay, man, let me give my honest opinion about something and give them the validation that they need.
Exactly.
They ain't
Exactly.
looking for me to change the world. They're just looking for, hey, is this good or not? I don't need all that other stuff you're trying to do.
Yeah, because the question I asked, hey, what do you think about this?
Right.
That's the question I asked.
And
That
sometimes,
means I need validation. I need some self validation for
and
this.
sometimes you can go. This is careful. I'm real. Again, I'm learning. You can go underboard on it or overboard on that validation,
That's true.
and don't even know what you're doing. Like again, you don't even know that's supposed to be a validation thing. So again, pay attention. Try to be perceptive. I would say be more of a good listener, but I think listener is fine, but perception is a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah. So number 3 says it can help us feel connected. So that's kind of like what we were just talking about. Like if we validate each other as a husband and wife, I think that helps with our connection.
It does. For me, it does. I need it. I need it from you. The external person would be from him. I need it from him, because that helps boost my confidence. I know that he'll be real with me. So that
Try to
that and
be.
that and that helps us to kind of get to. I'll know whether he knows me more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We know each other better. So
Try to be. And again, but that's not more I think about it. You got to be careful with certain things about that. But it says here we can receive validation from others. It can help us. Now, if you get it from other people, let's say outside of the scope of a relationship or something like friendship or just people in passing, that's just bonus. to me, it's like, oh wow, okay, cool. They like that. I mean, Angela, we talk about it all the time. Be like, man, I heard so and so told me. And even though it's not like it's something for me, the validation that I can get from Angela would be Angela saying, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I can see that because I'm like I told you the other day, you did that was good. You did good." So it's a double validation thing. So if Angela, go ahead,
Yeah. I was gonna say, even with that, I go into detail and things that I
that
appreciate,
helps.
because I'm not just saying it just to make him feel good.
Now
Because
sometimes,
sometimes Chris will be like, "Oh, you just saying it because I'm your husband, or you just
mhm,
saying that just to be nice, or you just saying it to try to make me feel good."
mhm,
Going into details about certain things, aspects that person did is really helpful. It just tells them, "Hey, you were paying attention, and you did really like it."
mhm. Now I was just thinking, sometimes there are things that you can say to your better half, and it just like, and I guess unless some outside source gives it, they just can't wrap their head, and that's probably something they have more of a struggle with than normal. But for the
Yeah.
most part, when she's outside of maybe one thing, anything else, she accepts it. She accepts the truth or the reality, in my opinion, or the facts of it, in my opinion. Um. So anyway, it says that this can deepen our relationship and make us feel more supported, especially when we feel isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
I agree with all of those, but here's where it gets tricky because now I was going to talk about, and Angela's going to talk about number one. Now I was going to look at the cons, and you can tell us, what do you think about these cons? What does the first one say?
The first one says it can take a toll on our self esteem. So if we're constantly seeking validation from others, we can start to believe that our worthiness or worthlessness is contingent on what others think of us. Low self esteem can lead to unhealthy levels of self consciousness and self doubt.
Yeah, now I can see that happening. I think I've seen it happen like the social media spectrum.
Oh, yeah,
I've
big
seen that.
time.
I believe I've seen that happen. And we were talking about some examples of that earlier.
Yeah. So you got to think that whenever you do social media posts, yeah, we were talking about, let's say if you didn't get as many likes, or you see somebody else get more likes on a social media post than you, or you see this little meme going and living its life on somebody else's profile and you didn't get as much acknowledgement from the meme that than somebody else that posted it, that can you'll start like, okay, what's up with me?
Mm-hmm.
What's going, I mean, you will internalize that as though there's something wrong with you. Your self-esteem goes down, because social media is social media. It's gonna do what it do. It's just it. I know when we first came on social media, because I was just still trying to get the feel, because that is like a different like world. It's like you going to visit in another country and you getting to know the culture of that country. That's how you got to treat social media. It is forever changing and it is
Mm-hmm.
different. So if you don't get a lot of attention, because let me tell you, it's so many, it's you getting more attention than what you see.
Right.
A lot of people are seeing that your post than what you realize.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to not internalize that. That's out of your control. You can't control what other people do. So, and what you do is, when if you do, where it says, when you do start to believe that that something is wrong, it must be me. That can cause problem, because guess what? You can't control that. You talking about low self-esteem, that can really lead you to a dark place. That's leading you down a really dark place of something you have no control of, and something that is not that reality. That is not reality.
Yeah. And number two kind of is tied into it. You can get in the cycle of people pleasing. And that could be, man, I hope so and so thinks this is okay. And I hope that no longer your own independent ways, the way, your own styles come into play because you're just more interested in what someone else is. It's like you're feeding off the validation. You're feeding off the likes, as it were. You're
Mm-hmm.
feeding off the going viral, all these things that people use instead of focusing on what should makes you unique.
Yeah,
And it can mentally affect you. It can damage friendships and relationships, in my opinion.
I agree with that. It's my people pleasing. That is just me even look at the word people pleasing stir up some negative emotions within me because it's like,
Stirring it up.
what about, you got, when you talk about people pleasing, I mean, you're not thinking of yourself, you're putting yourself on the back burner for other folks. I mean, not to say that taking care of other people or please, having, making other folks happy is wrong. We're not saying that. We're just saying that when you're really putting forth the effort to try to please everybody, everybody's not going to be pleased by your efforts, and that can lead to low self-esteem, negative feelings within yourself. It said this can be damaging to our relationship and our mental health. Just imagine, the more people pleasing you do, the less you feel about yourself, and that's not good. Your mental health is involved there, and that garners your attention. You got to really be focused on that. You got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. Make sure you are in a good place, a good spot, or a good headspace mentally.
Yeah, and that's really why we're even discussing this, because these are things that can subtly or slowly impact any of our mental health if we're not keeping it in check, if we're not aware of certain habits. This could be a certain quality we didn't even have at
Oh,
first,
yeah.
but because of being drawn into something or slowly maneuvering a certain way, we got some struggles. But number 3.
It's not always accurate. So external validation is not always accurate. Just because someone says we're good at something doesn't mean we are. And just because someone says we're not good at something doesn't mean we actually aren't.
Yeah. So what it's saying is keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So the con is saying is that you can't all, even though, yeah, it's good somebody to say something nice or build you up and all that, but everybody is not always quite, sometimes people just say stuff. And then sometimes people are just negative, so they're going to give you negative feedback. Sometimes people are just going to say nice stuff, even if they don't know what they're talking about. So realize that the information you're receiving is not always accurate. So don't get too caught up into that, especially as you get to know people.
And please keep this in mind. Some people are just not out there for your greater good. They probably know that you're going to be affected by what they say. So they'll say something that's not accurate about you just to get that negative reaction or to have you feel a little less about yourself because they are manipulating. They could be jealous. They could have envy. They're just trying to tone you down a little bit or to make you feel a little bit, but don't give into that. So
And then it talks about number 4 is not being an addict, which is more like what does that mean? It's like don't hang your hat on what people say. Don't become like I need it, gotta have it, right? Yeah.
do you see more of that today, that this could be addicting, to where it says we can become addicted to positive feelings it gives us and start to seek it out constantly? That could lead to, you see more of that today, where people get into these relationships with certain people, or they crave certain friendships that are unhealthy for them because they want that attention. They want a validation from certain people.
Yeah, they're making that their existence. Like that's the, you know, I don't know, but it keeps you, again, it stirs you away from you being unique and independent, and you start skewing your qualities of who you are. And it probably can cause damage on both sides because the person's like, what are they trying to be like me, or what are they trying to do? I don't understand. Why? I mean, I like that. That's a nice, shirt. Those are nice shoes. But did they get them from me, or did they get them because they like them?
That is true.
Because they're looking for the fix,
Yes, they
and it can
are.
become an addiction. So anyway, it talks about What here?
Says, so what can we do instead? Find validation from within. So, finding validation from within means looking to ourselves for approval and acceptance. It means recognizing our accomplishment and giving ourselves credit when we do something well. And even though it can be a challenge, it's worth it.
I agree with that.
Now, I'm going to say this. This is a personal thing. I used to be real bad about this, and I had to, and this was years ago, I had to make that change. Just like what it say, you got to make that
Make there you go.
change. when when I made that change, I became more of a happier person. I started, because I felt that I lost myself when I'm trying to please everybody, or when I'm not, looking at myself as far as my mental health, and making sure that I'm good, for things that I like and things that I do, the way I look, the way I talk, or me just being me being Angela. that Because you would think that, okay, if I was me, if I was acting myself, nobody wouldn't like me or whatever. The self-worth, the self-esteem came into play, the self confidence. So basically, just fall in love with yourself. Make sure you're looking at yourself and what you like. Don't, just like say, don't lose yourself. Don't become somebody else just to please everybody.
And so to go along with what Angela said, some of the tips that it actually gave here is 5 of them. I'll start us off with number 1. It says acknowledge your accomplishments no matter how small.
Yeah.
So don't belittle anything, any tiny little thing. Acknowledge them. You acknowledge them. You don't wait until somebody give you validation for them, even if it's something little. You accomplish it. Be proud of it. Acknowledge it. That's
Mm-hmm.
number 1.
And number 2 says, give yourself credit when you do something well.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
okay. Doesn't
yeah,
make you conceited.
yeah. So if I accomplish something, wherever it is, I mean, even if it's getting up and, okay, I said I was gonna get up early, I was gonna go and do this, and I
Yeah.
did it.
Doesn't show a lack of humility. It's not a
Right.
negative thing because you need the build up. You need to lay the bricks on top of one another. So that's another thing. Number 3 is be gentle with yourself when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm kind of guilty, but I see it more with others. Like I see it more with others. I see it more with some of our dear sister, our sisters are they are hard on themselves. They really are. They're serious. Like they ain't no joke. They are beat themselves up. Even if you say something just neutral. So you gotta be careful. But they really, in the end, they have to be gentle with themselves, men and women, no matter who you are, no matter what human, no matter all human beings. Is what I'm trying to say. Be very careful about beating up yourself.
That's so true.
Yeah.
All right. And number 4, it says, seek out supportive people who will lift you, not tear you down.
Whew, I agree with that. And they're very clear. Like it's people that I hate to say it like this, but it's true. It's some people have such a negative habit that just like they don't know how to build people up. They've always done it. So if you befriended a person like that and it's something they can't adjust to, unfortunately you might have to make some adjustments. They might change, but yeah, it's not good for you right now. So
Not good for
um
yourself. We call it your mental health.
right. And then
Yeah.
number 5 is practice self-compassion and learn to treat yourself with kindness and understanding, which is kind of like similar to the be gentle with yourself.
Yeah. Because think about it, you're going to make mistakes. If you're hard on yourself, especially if something's already happened, just move on. Do better next time. But don't be too hard on yourself. You do that, you're just gonna be in this pit of sorrow for a minute before you catch yourself.
Yeah.
But let's not get too far deep into the pit. Just
Yeah.
acknowledge it and move on.
And then sorrow can cause frustration, sadness, depression, anger, all these qualities that can make, then we can become difficult to be with because we're caught up in that when we may need something or need those people, but because we are tough on ourselves everything starts with us. We're the root of everything. So if we handle ourselves a certain way, those people that do have good intentions for us, that do love us, that do want to build us up, it's easier to do, and they can assist better because everybody don't always know what's going on inside our minds and what we're struggling with or whatever. Even if we try to tell them, no human being is going to say, I know exactly to the letter. You know, somebody say, I know what you feel. I understand what you're saying. And they do. But you got to understand that people that love you, they do want to help you. So don't beat yourself up. It gives people a chance to keep lifting you up as well.
Exactly. And you never know who's watching and being inspired by you, who you are encouraging just by you even trying. You ain't got to be perfect. You know, lot of times we are inspired by people that are trying. You know,
Yeah.
you see, oh man, I noticed this person, they struggle. I can see their struggle, but look where they are today. How did they get through it? Because guess what? Everybody's going to struggle. You know, we're inspired by seeing your you know coming out of that deep pit, that hole. You did it. You
Right.
came out, but you got to make the actions. You got to take the actions to get out of it. But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself.
If you practice that with yourself, that kindness, and don't you think it'd be better at giving it to others if I practice that with me? Yeah.
Yeah, because you have the experience. You can say, you know what, that happened to me. Let me show you. Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what helped me.
Or you can just naturally be that. Well, like if I practice beating myself up all the time and negative to myself, more than likely that's going to come out when I speak to others.
Yes.
But if I say, I'm going to work on building myself up, streaming myself up, and I make that a practice, then I'll naturally speak that way and deal with others.
And you won't look for outside or people, let's say somebody gave you some negative feedback. You're not going to just go by what they say. You're going to be like, you're going to, just move on. You're going to take that, okay, that person obviously don't know me. I'm not going to let that ruin my day. Because let me tell you, if you're on social media, you're going to get some negative feedback. There's some crazy people out there. Also,
funny.
I actually think that the AI technology is putting out negative comments out there just to, I guess, just to mess with us. I guess, I don't know.
She has had that happen.
That is a perception. That is like assumption. But some of these comments doesn't make sense.
I build her up because I'm one half of the Spice of Life. So I'm Chris. That's Angela. And this is me always giving Angela the Spice of Life and adding spice to her day. Because that's why we're called the Spice of Life. Am I right?
That's right.
So thank you for joining us. Hopefully this is help. Build yourself up. Think highly of yourself. Yeah. People love you. People care about you. We want to see you successful. So this is all we, hopefully this is something that you can get a little more understanding from the Spice.
Oh.
Whole life. La 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 la. La la.
Right. Goodbye.